A short live stream. It'll be pretty short, talking about the many distractions that are going on in our world, to distract us from really more important things, right? Uh, I think by now, I think most people know Diddy's a distraction. I'm not saying there isn't some, you know, strange things going down. I'm certainly not saying that at all, but it's a distraction from something far worse. I always think about what William Bloom said. William Bloom said, whatever you think your government is up to, whatever you can imagine they're up to, what they're really doing is far worse. So I like to, apply that to what we see in the media, what they're distracting you from, even though it may be bad itself. Sounds pretty weird, what little bit that I've discovered about it. Sounds pretty bad, don't get me wrong. But is it worse than, I don't know, unaliving 500,000 children aged 1 to 5 in Iraq over the course of many years because of sanctions? No. Is it worse than unaliving 2 to 3 million Iraqis? No. Is anything Diddy did or his crime ring worse than destroying the eighth wonder of the world in Libya? No. Those are the real crimes. I mean, that's what I want to see on, the 6 o'clock news and all of these, prime time investigative report type things. I want to see those crimes being talked about. Is it worse than the 2008 housing collapse, which financially wiped out a lot of people? I know people who lost everything because they were in the spec home building business, making some money. And when the market collapsed, they lost everything, and they couldn't pay those mortgages, and everything was a bust. And then when you peel back the layers and look beneath the surface of what was going on there with Larry Fink, who is now the head of BlackRock, you realize there's some shady business, right? Bundling up the derivatives and selling them off to Americans. But bottom line is there's a myriad of things that are going on that are far worse and far more impactful in a negative way to Americans, right? I think back to the OJ trial too, because I mean that was the Diddy, that was the Diddy of my day, OJ, and that dates me. But I remember the helicopters following OJ on the freeway in his white Bronco too, and we were all glued to the screen. That was the 90s. That was in the 90s, early 90s. Diddy is the new OJ, and there was probably one in between there too. I don't know, but it keeps the public distracted and focused on something so that the criminals can do something different, right? It's classic bait and switch. Look over here at this thing while we do something worse over here on this thing. I agree. The music was good. It was good. It is good. Let's be real. I listened to a lot of it too back in the day. But it's this classic bait and switch. And I always think about this idea of, the shell game or the card game on the streets. There's a lot of people that shouldn't be playing those games, shouldn't be, focused on these things, because if you don't have the spidey sense to realize, there's something shifty going on, or a straight up bait and switch, like, steal your wallet kind of a thing. I mean, there's a lot of people that shouldn't be playing those games, but those are the games that criminals play on a national and global level, just at a different scale. The thing about it is, from where I look at this type of situations that are going on, it's basically conning people. They're con men, they're grifters, they're thieves, and they're just playing at a whole nother level, right? They're just playing at an exponential level where millions and or billions are in play. And at that level, you are going to get the best of the best, right? You're going to get the best distractions. You're going to get the best collusions. You're going to get the best corruption. Because when you got millions and billions at play, you can invest. Like, all these con people, they invest in personas, in character development, in outfits, in props, at the highest level, which the criminals in our world play at the highest level. they can invest and they can buy doctors, they can buy professionals, they can buy anything they want to build out the con, right? To build out the con. Got to keep us convinced billionaires need to exist. Exactly. To that point, my whole perception of billionaires like Musk and Bezos has changed in the last handful of years, because so many people are exposing, and maybe you see this too, are exposing the fact that, hey, is Elon Musk really, or is Jeff Bezos really the richest man on earth? No, he's really not. Who's behind them? Who's the money behind him? Who financed and bankrolled those two? I never really thought about it before because I was still caught up in that matrix. You know, in my own experience, it's a process of awakening, right? And you just peel back layer and layer of truth. Did you watch Peter Thiel? That guy ain't conning anyone. He's just a supervillain. I haven't seen, I don't know what I know about him. You know, I know his game. I don't know if he's conning people. He seems pretty convincing or convincing. I think he still might be getting a lot of people. Whitney Webb, one of my favorite, truth speakers and researchers. I love listening to her talk about this thing because she's just connected all these dots all over the place. I think it's coming out, with Donald Trump giving millions of dollars to Palantir. I mean, sketchy. In his first term, he gave billions of dollars to pharma. Now he's giving millions of dollars to Palantir, and a lot of people still believe in that guy. Again, people wake up in their own way, at their own time. But all these distractions, they're distracting people from the Peter Thiels, from the money behind all these politicians or businessmen or rich, Bill Gates, even Soros. I think they all have backers, and I think the backers are in the shadows, right? It's levels of, sorry, I don't have my glasses on here, means control. Remember, we have little to no control over a lot of things we see, and repetitive concepts form beliefs. True. They give us the illusion of control. My new understanding, and this has been for the last number of months, maybe even a year or so, is this whole idea of we the people. We the people are in charge. Hilarious. I bought it. I used to buy it, but I always wondered why government was incompetent. For the decades leading up to COVID, I always was like, why are you so incompetent? Why can't you solve national debt? Why are we 35, 36, 37 trillion in debt? Why do we have, why are you taking away our freedoms and civil liberties continually? Why do we spend 20 years in Afghanistan and give all of that equipment? Remember the billions of dollars worth of equipment that taxpayers bought, and the gov just left it there. If that's not an FU right in your face, I don't know what is. If that's not a you're not in charge in your face, I don't know what is. And then Joe Biden, 15, 20 years ago, I shared a video on my social media at G. Mark Phillips when he was saying, if I'm president, I'm never going to leave the equipment there because you got to bring the equipment home or they'll use it against American soldiers down the road. This is what these clowns do. They're talking out of both sides of their mouth, lying their asses off. And some Americans are buying it, even still to this day. Let's see. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate you. We have the numbers, but we don't vote for meaningful. I hope we have the numbers. FJB, FKH. Yes, I now see both sides as two wings of the same bird, however. And to that point, a lot of people still point to, and you know what? I used to be there, but I just don't see it anymore. I see puppeteers behind the strings, like the financiers, like the money people, like the private central bankers. They're funding both sides and making it look like, this is my perspective, making it look like it's the left. The most common one is this. Oh, Joe Biden let all these illegal immigrants in, right? Or Joe Biden caused the inflation. That's not necessarily true. The Federal Reserve caused the inflation. Milton Friedman talked about this and educated us back in the day, saying only Washington can cause inflation. And what he means by that is only the Federal Reserve, because in 1913, the Congress gave private central bankers the ability to run our money system. And ever since then, it's been a total shit show. Even though the charter for the private central bank, Federal Reserve, was to stabilize money. It's not stabilizing money. It's not. We're on the brink of a collapse of the dollar. I mean, inflation is off the charts. They're never going to be able to put that fire out. I don't know what they're going to do. They're never going to be able to fire. It's going to crash. All currencies crash, in my understanding, after they reach 72% debt to GDP, and we could be in the 120, 130%. I don't know. It was years ago. It was like 100% or 90%. But we stopped pumping oil when Biden came in. We did, and everything fell apart. We did do that. The only thing I can think, again, the way that I see it, again, two wings of the same bird, and I believed in Trump when he came on the scene, and he told the WEF to shove it. He he forgave loans to historic black colleges. Both of those things, awesome. He did a couple other things that escape my mind at the moment. But the more I look at it, the more I see that they were kind of to position himself as the people's person. As time went on, my list of pros and cons, Trump's a good guy, Trump's a bad guy, filled out in the column of he's a bad guy, right? He's a bad guy just because of some of the bigger things that he's done, namely Operation Warp Speed, giving billions of dollars to the most fraudulent, misleading, grifting companies on the planet, which they're pharmaceutical companies, objectively based on fines from the Department of Justice. That's another thing. Side note, I don't understand how the federal government didn't 40 years ago get on the phone to the DOJ and said, hey, we want to build the Americans' trust in pharma. Never, ever fine them. Don't fine them. But they didn't do that. They didn't cross the T's and dot the I. And it's perplexing to me because now anyone who looks even for 1 second at pharma can find that they are like literally sketchy AF, the worst corporations on the planet. Let's see what we got here. I want to also wrap up this. So gave billions of dollars to pharma. Now he's giving millions of dollars to Palantir to build their AI system or their AI database, and also more injections and stuff. So, LOL. Rich people are fine. It's always the poor who suffer everywhere. Amen to that. They do. And that's what pisses me off. Life is suffering. Sadly, amen to that as well. I've been diving into this idea of the notion that we live in a hell realm. I never really thought about it before, but I look around and I'm like, okay, evil appears to be prevailing. And some people think it's, on the downhill slide. I just look at trends. I don't ever look at, it's going to happen, and I have a good fuzzy feeling about it. I just look at results and trends. And I don't see the evil players, losing, to be quite honest. I don't see money flowing back to the 99%. I don't see the gold that Gaddafi, I don't know where the gold that Gaddafi had when he was going to sell his oil for gold went. I don't know where the gold went that that Saddam Hussein had in their vaults when he was going to sell his oil for gold. Is it still there? Did it go bye-bye? Did it go to the people? I don't know. Are you genuinely surprised that Trump lied? I'm not. I'm not genuinely surprised. I'm bummed out because initially I was one of the ones that bought it. And the reason I bought it is because I don't like career politicians. He played me like a fiddle. Let's be real. For 20 years prior, I didn't pay attention to the media and politicians. I just was like, you guys are sketchy. You say the same things over and over. You don't do anything. But when he came on the scene, I was like, oh yeah, this is cool, and not a non-politician. So he did. He got me. And in this last election, I didn't vote for either one of them because I finally woke up to the game, and I'm like, oh, peace out, people. I'm done with all of you. So yeah, I was bummed out, not surprised though, but bummed out. The U.S. is finally showing us what they were always about. I'm sorry for the people though. They are, and it's still dangerous to speak, dangerous is relative, of course, to speak the truth about what the U.S. is and has been, and the crimes against humanity the United States has perpetrated against the whole of the world, not only in the Middle East, but all in South America, in Asia, the US and US corporations. It's sinister. It's bad news. I just hope Americans wake up so we can do what we can to make amends, to be honest. And I'm not saying other nations haven't done that as well. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. I was just thinking that Palantir and Peter Thiel connection to Trump. Yeah. And as Whitney Webb talks about, Peter Thiel has invested a bunch of money in JD Vance. See, JD Vance reminds me of like an Obama. Comes out of nowhere. That dude was like, he was even in, what was he, a congressman? Representative for how long? Not very long. Now he's a vice president. That's how you know our government is sketch. There's plenty of people who have been around a lot longer than him, but that's how money runs this world. I don't trust Trump. I don't either now. Not like I once did. A lot of people are waking up. Every move he makes, it wakes people up. I think, not releasing the JFK files was a huge error. Well, my whole thing is, where do why they must be stupid, or they know they're not going to do it and they just don't care. Why would you ever, they don't know the idea of under promise, over deliver. Why would you promise to release the JFK files, not release them, knowing you're going to piss off a bunch of your base and wake them up? No JFK files, no Epstein files, and then bombing Iran. I mean, so many people woke up from each of those situations. I respect your opinion coming from a Trump supporter. Thank you. I appreciate that. I just feel it's time to, speak our truth and share our perspective. That's all we got. That's all we're going to do to wake people up. Sharing knowledge and information, right, with one another. That's how I wake up. Again, I referenced Whitney Webb, Brandon Kroll. He's divulging a lot of deep level Christianity, occult symbolism. I've had him a guest on my podcast a couple times. You can find him on my YouTube channel here. Fantastic individual. If you want to go deep down the occult and symbology, that guy is a powerhouse. Larry Johnson's another one as well. Also, I recently was introduced to Unplug Him on YouTube. That guy is a powerhouse. Brother Theo, he's super awesome. Let's see. Do you believe in that democratic system can work without corruption in the U.S.? I want to believe that. I do believe it can work, but we've got to get bad actors out of the system. I don't know. I think it can work, but we've got to change some things, and they just have such a grip on it until the people get mad enough and stand up. And it doesn't even have to be a violent revolt. It just has to be a collective, off screen. I'm flipping the bird, like, F you to the gov when they want you to do something. It doesn't have to be a massive, like, in your face type of protest. It just has to be a collective, we're not playing your game anymore kind of a thing. Much like what happened during COVID, but on a grander scale. But it does require a mass awakening. They own Vance, literally. I agree. I totally agree. Iraq not releasing the full Epstein files. Yeah, I think he awakened a lot of people by not doing that. Because people forget. Amen to that statement. I over the last few months or years, I've thought to myself, if we could get all of the people who lost their children in World War I and II, lies and deception, go over there and fight this enemy. And, oh, by the way, a lot of you are going to die. I think about the stupidity of storming the beach. You guys got to storm the beach. There's the machine guns set up on the other side. It was like, what in the F are you even talking about? And then at the end of the war, we're all friends. You got a lot of you are going to die and get maimed and murdered. Then at the end of the war, we're all friends. So you can get all the parents who lost their kids in that war and that then researched and did their own research and woke up to the fact that it's all bullshit. And you get all the parents that lost their children during the Vietnam War and they wake up into the bullshit. You get all the vets and parents that lost their kids in the Iraq War and in the Middle East. And then you get all of Tuskegee residents, and you get all radiation experiment victims, and you get all of St. Louis and Corpus Christi spraying radioactive dust in the air, and all of all of the victims of CIA's crimes against humanity. You get all those people in a room, and the USS Liberty. You get all the people in the room been hosed over by governments, our government, and say, hey, share what you know with the people of the United States. That's what we need to have happen. That's what, and it is happening on a scale, but it just needs to go viral is what it is. Let's see. People forget. I love Jesus too. Amen to that. I love Trump because he is like us. He is not a crooked politician. I respect your opinion. I disagree, however, but I do respect your opinion because I used to believe that as well. You sweet summer child. That was 2001 to 2021. Yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about the Iraq situation. Are they Elon and Trump friends or not? Was it just a show? I think it's just a show. I think it's just a show, a distraction. I think it's WWE for politics. That's what I think. I didn't used to think that, but I do now. I think it keeps their attention. Even as speaking to my friend Brandon Kroll, he enlightened me with something else. I don't follow Trump's tweets. I don't pay attention to them. I just don't find it to be beneficial. But he said, and I did look this up, and he does end a lot of his tweets this way. He says, whatever he's talking about, whether the fact that he's the greatest military strategist of all time, that he avoided World War III, and he ends all of his tweets with this sentence. He said, thanks for your attention to this matter. Have you seen this? Thank you for your attention to this matter. It's sketchy. I think it's some type of a subliminal, subconscious suggestion, hypnotic suggestion to pay attention to what he's doing. That's what I think. I get it. Most of government is crooked. I agree. I totally agree. I think they're all, and even Jesse Ventura talked about this back in the day, that they're all crooked, and that there's some people out the front door that I'm going to try to forget they're there because I don't want to interrupt this. They're all crooked, and they're all in the same team. Remember when Jesse Ventura back in the day said, oh, all these guys are friends behind the scenes, and they all know each other. They go to dinner together. They hang out together. And the reason they do the left-right thing is because they want to pit the American people against one another and make them think that the left's fighting for the left and the right's fighting for the right. And I do believe it's like WWE so much. I really do. Let's see. Government, the soccer spot. It's always a good day when a predator bites the dust. Okay, will not anyone. Yeah, wow. It's because he's a malignant narcissist that rubs his ego to get attention. I agree. I see that now. Mr. Clean, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I get the Mr. Clean thing or the Bruce Willis thing. And the other day I got a new one. I got a mix. I don't see it, but whatever. I got a mix of Bruce Willis and Ryan Reynolds. I do get the Bruce Willis and the Mr. Clean thing a lot. I'm just yapping about the state of the world. I respect your opinion because I disagree. Yep. Yeah. That's healthy. We can disagree with one another and still come together and, be a society, right? That's what I like. What are you yapping about? Yep. Yeah, but you're Mr. Clean. I am Mr. Clean. Bruce Willis is pretty cool though. He is. I feel for him going through his health challenges. That sounds like a really shitty situation. Anyway, I appreciate your comments. I just wanted to jump on very quickly. Even your Mr. Clean comment. I appreciate the Mr. Clean comment too. We know. Yeah. Thanks to you guys for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. I do other types of content on my social media, anywhere at Mark Phillips, probably most often at Instagram, sharing knowledge and information. I started doing that in 2022 or 2023 because I've realized there's a need for it, and I was inspired to do so. After seeing people, being censored, and after myself being completely sketched out by what happened during COVID times, I was like, come on. I didn't want to start sharing that information. I didn't want to start speaking up because it was still sensitive. A lot more people are waking up now, and I feel a lot more comfortable. And there were people sharing information before me, the trailblazers, and I'm like, God bless you guys. because remember when the mass psychosis was going on and everyone was in this trance of follow the science and you're a dum-dum if you don't follow the science. I mean, those are the times when I was just like silent going, okay, well, I hope it all works out for you, trusting the GOV. I've never found a reason to trust them. And I pray it works out because they're our friends and families, right? Our neighbors, our brothers and sisters in humanity. And so I'm like, I hope it all works out, but I can't put my eggs in that basket. But yeah, that's why I started speaking up. Let me see here. Mark is a rebel, keep speaking your truth. Hey, thank you, Jay. I appreciate you. I always appreciate you hanging out and watching my stuff. Jay's been with me a long time. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, I'll wrap it up there. Thanks so much for hanging out. I appreciate all the comments and the engagement, and thank you for the thumbs up. I'll talk to you in the next one. Have an awesome day, and all the best health, wealth, and success to you. Bye-bye.